that makes it even harder. And that's why some of these tough decisions were made. I'm going to bring Stan on if he's ready. And we'll start to talk to our friend here from Veterans for American First, Stan Fitzgerald. Thank you for coming on the show. And certainly I'm going to turn it over to you.
Kevin, thank you for having me. And it's a pleasure to do your endorsement interview here on your show live. You'd mentioned New Jersey, and just to fill in our viewers and our board who will watch this later, you were part of the media team for our Veterans for America First Black Pack bus tour up in New Jersey, and you mentioned the way you were treated. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, the way that they treat our people up there?
Sure, I will. And, here's the first and foremost thing. I showed up. We went down. Mike Crispy, who was running, and of course, Mike, a great voice. Alan Jacoby's friends with Ted, great guy. He stood out. He challenged the establishment. He challenged the longtime serving congressman there. And we went to the Jersey Shore, Stan. We witnessed General Flynn speaking in public, being told he couldn't finish his public speaking. I don't know why New Jersey's any different when we see activities in the streets of New York or San Francisco. When they take over roads, they felt compelled to actually shut a general who served his country down and closed his speech out. I was overwhelmingly disappointed in that. Law enforcement was told by someone. Well, I think it was by the establishment, sir. I think the establishment sent them there to silence General Flynn that day. And what we witnessed after that was even more horrific. We went to the Mission Barbecue, which, folks, Mission Barbecue. It's a national brand. Who doesn't love barbecue? And I know Teddy gobbles up the barbecue probably by the not by the pounds, by the 100-pounders bags. But here's the deal. We want to support veteran-owned programs and businesses and all that. But if you really don't practice what you preach, because this is what we got at the Mission Barbecue that day. We showed up. They didn't want Ian Smith's campaign to show up, which we were going to be a part of that, where veterans were going to show up and have a free meal and celebrate the fact that we have a greatest country on earth. They kicked the Ian's team out. Well, we still showed up because YG from Black Pack and representing the Veterans America First and Josh and all of us were there. And we were just hungry, Stan, hungry for food. And you know what they said? You can't come in. You're part of an establishment. You're part of something political. Well, how do you know we're not here to have politics? We're here to eat some barbecue and get full and talk proudly about the food you serve. And they said no. They called the cops, Stan. They called the police, and they had Gentleman George, who was on earlier from Black Pack, and YG, two black gentlemen, actually begging to be fed. They dropped bags on the ground that day, brown paper bags with food in it, and said, get off our property. They used the police force to tell us to leave. I mean, I recorded the whole thing. It's on our, we shared it with you folks, and we've talked to some attorneys about the possibilities of a lawsuit and who knows down the road. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's the establishment, Stan. They're working together because there was a phone call made to Mission. The guy admitted it. And he said to us in that interview, well, they said they were concerned about your politics. So I told them I wouldn't have you here. And you're choosing then. Mr. Mission Barbecue, your choice is to choose the other side, not give us a chance to eat food. That was crazy, Stan. I'm sorry if I'm getting too passionate. You got me wound up again because I watched George and I saw tears in his eyes as a 60-plus-year-old man who fought in this country to be recognized as just a man, not a black man, not a white man, as a man, be told, you can't eat here. It was like the 50s, Stan. It was absolutely crazy.
We share your passions, Kevin, at Veterans for America First and Black Pack, and the behavior up in the tri-state area, treating conservatives, our veterans, and law enforcement is horrific. But to get to the actual endorsement interview, I know everyone knows your story, but for the purposes of this show, can you just go ahead and tell us a little bit about your background? I understand you served in the legislature.
Sure. And it's an honor to have this consideration. So I am a Connecticut native my whole life. I have two beautiful children, 26 and 23. Raised a family here in Connecticut. Worked as a correction officer for 21 years. Served in the state. Started at 21 years old. Retired at 42. I love my job. I love the team. I love all the fact of I love the badge. I love the fact that I worked on the right side. I know my law career in partnership with law enforcement agencies chasing fugitives in Connecticut led me into a lot of opportunities, meeting a lot of great people, helping people turn their lives around too. I've got people still in my life that I actually used to drink a coffee with when they were incarcerated, and through some good guidance and some help, we've been able to keep these people not just out of prison, but starting their own businesses throughout Connecticut. And I've been really committed to that. After I retired, Steve, excuse me, Stan, I was like, I got another Steve in the back corner here. I apologize. But after I retired, Stan, I was focused on just starting a business. I've always been wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I sat on my couch. I was complaining about the taxes, and people in my life said, "Get up and go get involved." And I ran for office as a first selectman. I've never been elected, never ran for office, and I won by one vote. And that one vote in the recanvass turned to two votes. And that story of the serving as a first selectman, which is like a mayor in a small town, and I've managed the $39 million budgets and all that other good stuff and all the community issues. But the most important thing was I was able to get cross endorsed by Democrats and Republicans the second term. And that shows me and told the community and the state of Connecticut that I have the ability to talk to people and actually work with people that maybe we don't agree on every issue, but the 6 out of 10 rule that I live by, I've been able to find success with that rule. 6 out of 10 things, we can find a reason to go to battle, man. And if we can find those in our hearts, we can look at the other issues that we can solve down the road, and let's fix the most important issues today. I've been serving now, I served then 2 terms and then went on to serve in the State House. And Stan, how honored I am. I was elected as the 45th House rep on the same ballot that the 45th president was, Donald J. Trump. And I have that ballot. It's someday I'll have it signed by him, hopefully, because that meant just the world to me, because he's an outsider. He's not an establishment guy. And I always felt from day one, Stan, that I was an outsider. I never felt like I belonged. I felt like my nails were a little too dirty. I listen to some maybe different types of music that maybe the establishment doesn't understand. I'm from a generation, I grew up in a trailer. I always tell people a trailer park, but it was simple beginnings for me. I've had family members in trouble. I've had family members have great success. I myself haven't made the greatest decisions all the time. Sometimes business comes back to you or these things, but I'm human. I'm real. I'm the real American, actually, Stan. Probably the realest American in Connecticut, I can say, that's running for this position as a lieutenant governor. I don't think anyone has had a experience like I have, where I've dealt with people of all cultures. There's not a cultural issue that I have in my body or my bone. I mean, I got cross endorsements coming to us, not just possibly from Veterans America First, from people who are affiliated with the Wu-Tang, music organization. And that's because of who I am. And so I think at the end of the day, my political career has always been about uniting people and solving problems. And I've been different in the aspect. I don't play to the same rules of let's make a deal, right? This is what politics has become. And this is why we see what we call rhinos have existed, because they've coexisted without fighting for the important issues of America. I'm privileged to tell you that I'm always going to be a conservative, 100%. I'll get the tattoo on my body. Actually, just so you know, I'm actually going to be traveling up and down the coast of Connecticut. I'm going to get tattoos. I'm going to sleeve my arm up. Steve, you like that, right? I'm going to sleeve my arm up in Connecticut. And I don't think there's ever been a candidate in the country that thought about doing that. But I'm going to do that because, you know what? We try to look at people in our country, Stan, and we qualify them. Oh, he's got a suit and tie on. Oh, he's driving a truck. She's serving something behind a counter, or she's an educator. And I think America is actually more united than we're allowed to be. And that's what this mission for me is about, is uniting Connecticut and bringing people together. Democrats, Republicans, independents need to vote for me, need to vote for Dr. Aaron Lewis. And I'm just proud to have this journey opportunity. And man, I'm just the real deal. And everything in my life is an open book, Stan.
So, as you know, originally in 2016, we were formed as Veterans for Trump, later to change the name to America First. So we do like to ask each candidate about their feelings of President Trump and the America
I
First
love him.
policy.
I want him to be my daddy.
I
No, I love
that.
Donald Trump, man. I am a huge listen. I don't want to cut you off, but you got me too excited. I never
That's
had
okay.
had an official opportunity to say this. Donald Trump, to me, I had a chance actually. I was campaigning with Marco Rubio early on when that whole kind of thing happened in 15 and 16. I was up in New Hampshire, and Donald Trump was asked at the time. He was doing an interview with CNBC early on. This is during the primaries and all that. And I was asked, would you sit in the back of the room in this setting while Donald Trump gives the interview. And I literally can tell you, I'll have to pull it up and send it to you. I think 2 minutes in, he looked at the reporter and said, "You're stupid," to something to that effect. And I understood what he was saying because I've been interviewed by so many reporters, how they try to set you up. I was like, this is the first guy I've ever seen, national TV, that just calls it like it is. The first person that speaks to the American people. By the way, are all his words correct and perfect? No, but neither are mine. But he's real. He's the realest president we've ever had in the history of this country. I think he's inspired a movement. I often say too, Stan, those people that are anti-Trump on that side, and we're going to work to convince them why they're wrong, because that's my mission in life. But I'll tell you this, AOC would not be in office if it wasn't for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump stood up to administrations and people, and he inspired people, even in the wrong lane, to stand up. Donald Trump has so much impact on the future and the current and just the history of America. By far, the greatest president ever. He outshines, to me, Ronald Reagan, and that's how I feel.
And just in closing, I know you touched on it somewhat, but can you tell our board what you would consider your major platform issues?
So currently, obviously I talk a lot on this show, and so I'm going to incorporate what I think is the most current issues Connecticut's challenged with. And, for example, because I'm a public safety like yourself, the epidemic of opioid issues, the border is a major issue. And Alan Jacoby, that was on earlier here, he said the same thing. There's no border. Like the Texas border, yeah, they're down there. We're all affected by the border. And I am really passionate about dealing with that border issue, what we can do in the state of Connecticut to make sure we don't have an influx of people coming into the state, taking things away from the needy people in Connecticut, but stopping the drugs that are killing our people. We're dying in Connecticut over drugs, okay? We're dying in Connecticut over drugs, so we have to fight there. Obviously, we can't exist without an economy. We can't exist without bringing back mom and pop shops across Connecticut. And that's going to be another initiative that we're going to work on. Not the corporate sponsors. Yeah, we have to work with them too. But I'm talking about mom and pop shops, like my next guest is going to be coming on, Steve, who's running for Senate here in Connecticut. He's a small business owner. We need to get small businesses stable and lock solid so we can move Connecticut and America forward again. Without having to be reliant upon all this foreign influence. And the final thought that I'll give you, obviously the public safety is in the beginning, period, across the board. The borders are part of that. But it's elections, and I need to work on bringing confidence back to elections in Connecticut. We had enough of a concern on the last go around when Ned Lamont was elected, when he was then challenging another opponent of ours now, Bob Stefanowski, who happens to be a nice guy, but he's just not quite nice enough when it comes to the policies. And he lost overnight, like 30,000 votes. And there's a lot of concern out here in Connecticut, just like across the country. So I think integrity when it comes to the election process is the only way, Stan, we're going to actually convince those people that we actually are fighting for them, because even though they disagree with us on this, at the end of the day, it's going to positively affect them as well. Because we don't want to see, if conservatives got control of everything and they went rogue down the road, we don't want them taking the rights of the people away. So this battle for election, transparency in Connecticut is a top priority of mine as well.
Excellent, excellent. So I think we have everything we need to forward this to board for vote, and I'll get some information back to you next week, my friend.
I appreciate it very much. Stan Fitzgerald, Veterans for America's First. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And, I didn't really know we were going to do this live, but you know what? It's exactly what I want to do with this whole platform. So thank you, Stan, for coming on today.
Thanks for having me on. Take care now.
Thank you so much, guys. And so there you go. We'll see what happens if I get the endorsement or not. We will see. Regardless of the endorsement from Veterans for America's First or anybody, I got to tell you, it's the confidence of the person right here in Connecticut that means the most to me. These are great things. These are honorable things. And believe me, I will be smiling from cheek to cheek if I get this opportunity to get this endorsement. And yes, I am 100% proud to say that I am a Donald Trump 100% Donald Trump supporter. I want Donald Trump to be back in office. I want his administration back in office. I want his family back in office. I want us to have a country that actually has a chance to really not just talk about the things, but actually see someone like his administration, what they did. They actually did them. We actually were independent on energy, folks. We were independent. We weren't sending no foreign grounds. Did we have our military fighting wars under Donald Trump? Think about that for a moment. This current president, within the first 2 years of his presidency, lost 13 soldiers on the tarmac. Okay? Bad decisions, clearly. You know, there's more. Going into the Ukraine issue, people can debate, is Russia bad? Russia's bad. Who's dumb enough to say they're not? But who's dumb enough to say that this has not been a planned attack by the Democrats, by the Biden administration, because nothing preoccupies America better than a war. And so we came out of COVID, the lockdown, ruined the economy. We had the mistake in Afghanistan that well, I don't call it a mistake. It was purposely done and it killed our soldiers. Then we go into the Ukraine issue because, well, times aren't bad enough. And now we get to blame Biden, blaming Putin for the oil prices. But yet, who shut off the fuel? He did. So the lies corporate media tell, the lies that the majority of the people, Liz Cheney and the rest of them who want to support these lies, this is what we need to eradicate in America, folks. We need to take out the liars. We'll put them on the bench. And if they want to get their stuff straight and they go to rehab and they want to come back and we believe in them again, we'll give them a chance. But right now, across America, we need a cleansing. We need to drink that cleansing, and we need to shit out within 48 hours every piece of garbage that tries to take control of our future and take America away from our future. And I'm going to fight for to the end of my days for that. I'm going to bring on